Let's do some chat from the deep. Switch over to that one. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chat from the Deep, our weekly live stream post-session discussion. We talk about what just happened during D&D, the chat for session 57. So if you've not watched that session yet, please go do that because there will be spoilers. I'm your DM, Eric, and joining me we have Gottwald's player, Chris.
Hello.
Max player, Raymond.
Hello.
So I had to change, do a little bit of like story stuff, I guess, for this session because I knew you guys were going to get to the very first of the brain things, and I thought it'd be nice to do one of those like, oh, let's let the villain pop in. And,
right.
Remind you that he's kind of an omnipresent force in this dungeon with like minions and shit. So this was not like a scripted thing in the book, but something I wanted to trigger. I initially only had one patrol wave. But I was like, you know what? We can manufacture things to where it's, and you called out where it's like, oh, it's an infinite number of enemies coming at you. And I was just going to do that in the combat itself. And I was like, once we got into it, I was like, this is actually kind of a fine, like, traditional combat encounter here with this grouping. You fought, 8 of those Sahuagin hybrid things.
Oh, yeah.
One aquatic troll and one Uchulan. That's a pretty good mix of dudes.
Yeah.
But it was spread out amongst a pretty big area, so that made it a different situation.
Yes, it did. Which I feel like, in hindsight, I feel like it was more helpful for us.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we did a lot of long range stuff that sort of like as they were coming to us, they were dying.
Right. Yeah. Savra, but even Savra going last in initiative order, I'm like, oh, she can't. Usually she can do a big nasty thing to me at the very start, and this time she couldn't. But because of the distance of the map, which it is painful now that I have this large map where I couldn't literally spawn guys like a video game like right on top of you, like right there.
Yeah.
But I had to do them like just off scene. But even doing as close as I could and having a round to catch up, they still couldn't get close enough to get a melee range. So I did specifically
not before us fireball was cast.
Anyway. Yeah, exactly. not before she could get that fireball. I did give them all the Mind Sliver range attack, which is literally the Mind Sliver spell, because as written, they didn't really have much of a range attack option. I thought, well, let's give them some kind of psychic attack to do, which I'm glad I did because they ended up using that a whole lot.
Yeah,
even though I didn't roll very good damage on it, but yeah, you just took little plinks of like 2 and 3 and 4 psychic damage every time.
Yep, that random potion from last session was really helpful.
Yeah. A little bit for Ray too, because of the pool
poison
here,
on
the psychic for sure.
I know I was joking with you last time about the psychic, and turns out it was useful.
It turns out it was useful. Yeah. The DMs are always pleased when people drink potions and use those like finite resources. You're like, oh, I feel like they're like, they need to tactically make that choice. Be like, oh, I need to spend this.
Right.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the troll didn't get technically. It literally says the troll only gets this particular kind of troll, which is called a scrag. Only regains hit points if it's in water. For troll regeneration, so it's kind of a weaker troll. I don't think it would have mattered because it only went one. It spent its one round dashing. I guess it could have gotten 10 hit points back, and then it got beat by Gottwald pretty bad.
And there was Bill Hader was doing things.
Did it actually even get hit by that yet? I'm not even sure it had a round yet. I think you cut it in pieces before it got a chance to.
Right.
Yeah, I think you just hit it with a bunch of hammers, and then something must have hit it before that I wasn't aware of. Somebody hit it with something. I think Max shot it.
Yeah,
Max shot with like an arrow.
Yeah, I shot a couple times.
Okay, yeah.
So both hits.
By the time Gottwald made it up there, it only had like 25 hit points or so, and then you'd like that massive like 30 damage hit, and you're like, fuck, this thing is dead.
Yep.
So both it and the Uchulan, I don't think either of them actually got an attack off.
Oh, wow.
I don't think the other...
I didn't realize that.
Both of them, they had to... Because again, the distance thing, they both had to spend their first rounds dashing. And then after that, people basically were able to close in and beat up on them.
Yeah.
So only the little guys got their attacks off. But I feel like it was still an interesting fight with having all those minions and stuff running at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my initial idea was to keep you in initiative and keep having guys come at you, but I'm like, it's just gonna drag things on. I'm not sure if players don't ever want to retreat from a battle,
right?
And it's probably better to do that like cinematically off camera.
Well,
and give guys a breather.
I feel like this is almost like a whole topic of discussion that we could have, like a debate, because like retreat is mechanically never terribly viable because enemies can always catch up to you. Like, they can move as fast as you can 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So you trying to like flee a fight is usually just prolonging the fight most of the time. So from a player's perspective, it's like, yeah, we need to finish off the guys around us. And then if we have some space, then we can run.
Yeah.
But fleeing an already engaged enemy is really, honestly, never even a consideration.
Which I think is why anytime we do anything close to a chase sequence, it's not in the context of traditional combat encounter.
Right.
Although it may, like we had one that was the chase sequence at the end of the Sahuagin Stronghold, where it's like, all right, we're going to do things in a round by round basis, but you're not attacking anything. You're literally just...
And I feel like you played that one really well, where you didn't even give us like tokens to fight. It was just like,
right.
There's an unnamed throng or unnumbered throng of enemies.
Correct.
Coming at you.
Correct. Yeah. Which is the idea here, was like, we are going to have an initial force. And this was the tease of like, okay, but now you're going to keep on getting pounded with this force unless you move on to something else, basically.
I feel like that was effective, as like using these two patrols as like the initial encounter, and then saying, okay, this is just gonna keep happening. You gotta move, because this is not the end.
So fun fact, this Uchulon that you fought was literally the third one that was initially in this pond that I didn't end up using last week, which I think we talked how I usually use 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
And I originally had the patrols be mirror image of each other. It was a troll and 4, actually 5 of the Sahuagin Illithid things, and then 1 troll on each side. And I thought, oh, well, I've got this other Uchulon I never used. Let's just use that guy on the top, make it a little more interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. Well, I guess it did fuck you up a little bit, because you're like, oh, no, I'm going to attack the paralyzing guy. But
I didn't make it both
your
times.
con save is pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little worrisome.
I think the reason it got me last time, or it bugged me last time, is because I was literally going into like do my punch and grapple moves.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be like taking this the entire time I'm engaged.
You do not want to hang on to it.
Yep.
Yep. So that was gonna be the big kind of sort of climactic fight of this area, I guess, was having to like, oh no, we fought these guys off, but now we really need to double back and go in here, which I basically moved. I guess I can talk about that. Moved where this hatch does exist, this tunnel, but I kind of moved where it is just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to get to it. I added the writing and stuff on the walls to add.
It's elsewhere geographically, like on
slightly,
the map?
Okay. It's a slightly different area, and I thought it's just easier and quicker and more cinematic if you're like, oh, we got to flee up here to this dead end. Oh, but there's things up here. Hence why I teased it with the glowing writing and everything.
Right. Was the glow writing you?
Yeah, that was here because I wanted to add some teasing about what's kind of coming up next, and the fact they're entering like a different biome in a different section.
Gotcha.
Which you picked up immediately, like, oh, this is like a fucking temple area.
Right.
The tunnel initially, let's see, which area is that in? I think it's 31. Has the hidden pressure plate, and when you step on it, it casts a 9th level cloud kill.
Oh damn!
In the corridor, which is redonkulous.
I did feel like you gave us that pretty easily. I was like, there must be a reason why, either time or something's gonna happen if we step on it. But he gave us that pretty easily.
Yeah. I think I got rid of it at the last minute a little bit, but I was like, if they're gonna be fleeing from danger, it just feels almost comical to like immediately put them in like a super dangerous situation as their escape. It's like that's like a fuck you DM move right there.
A little bit, because it's like descending action, right? It's like declining action. It's on the way down. You don't introduce a terrible danger,
right? To like heighten everything up right back again.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, oh, it's a good area of short rest. So I'm okay with eliminating that just nasty pants trap in there. But I kind of teased the fact that like this trap was in there. Maybe it went off long ago, and then it's just got disabled or got triggered or whatever else, and it's already in there. So for once, you get to come across a trap that's already been triggered in your favor.
Yep.
And then we get to enter the
underwater section.
Right, yeah. So this is partly why I really like this kind of mega dungeon crawl, because it's kind of divided up into these individual biomes and sections. And again, why I liked using the brains as like, and you called on it. It's like, oh, these are all going to be in like the different sections, and we're going to have to be going around all these things. So this one and I'm also glad that like For example, the final dungeon is not all underwater. You know,
Right.
we just did like 4 sessions of just kind of normal cave
Underwater,
dungeoning,
yeah.
and now we're getting into like the underwater
Right.
dungeon
right.
area. Which to fix the tunnel, I slightly moved where you enter in, but it ultimately doesn't matter. It's you end up in the same giant corridor either way.
Okay. Yeah.
But interestingly, it does mean you end up checking out this kind of secret area by the statue.
oh
Whereas
yeah.
you might not have been paying much attention to that before because of the fact that the divining rod brain thing tells you that it's
Tells you, which
that direction.
you're
Like,
trying to
oh,
go.
we just So I love that it was initially Sabra was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go down the only way we can go. And everybody else is like, no, I'm gonna punch this wall to try to get this direction. And honestly, I was kind of half hoping she kind of, because I love splitting the party. We talked about this forever, but I was kind of hoping that she would continue down that area and keep exploring down that corridor.
Oh yeah.
But instead, she kind of doubled back whenever you guys started arguing over the statue thing. But that is there. That definitely that secret door system is there with the trident and everything. Which shout out to, well, he's on the phone. Shout out to Ray though for
yeah, he figured that out
to it.
real quick.
and like aggressively swatting you back from like,
Yeah.
forcing it.
I mean, I didn't know what I like. Legitimately, me as a player was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's pointing towards some like false door or illusion or something. So that's why I was like, okay, Gotwal punches it.
Right.
But I don't know how Ray picked up on the like, okay, the trident's a key that's gonna fit into 3 holes.
I
I
know.
was like, oh, okay,
That is crazy that he picked that up that quickly. 'Cause that's
yeah.
So I have to see what's. I think I might have changed something in here, but I don't quite remember. See if I remember. Okay, the way it's written is that you use the trident to trace the frame and open the door. What I changed is that you just have to touch the trident to this door, but there's no door that opens. Instead, it like teleports you. 'Cause I thought that
yeah.
was nicely more dramatic.
Right.
And then the trident goes back, so briefly at least separates the party.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Conceivably, we could all just do that with a trident. and
My only
get
disappointment
away with it.
is it does weirdly mean like in the session where you take out one of the brains, suddenly the next that same session you get all the way up to the next brain
that. Yeah.
because
yeah.
you guys found that secret door basically and were able to like immediately find your way there. So
Is this sort of a, which you may not be able to tell us at this point, but is this sort of a skipping the dungeon sort of thing where like we're kind of jumping ahead to the brain?
not necessarily because
Okay.
well, yeah, I guess I can't tell anything further than that, but there's not much skippage, I think.
Okay.
So no, I'm not disappointed by it at all. It's
Okay.
Yeah, there's still plenty here, and like I said, there's other brains to find.
Right. There's other brains.
There's always other brains. But I like this area, and I'd actually prepped out pretty much a lot of these rooms and stuff because I wasn't sure how the exploration would go. I figured we'd make it to this dungeon, and then I didn't know, which direction we'd go or what we'd interact with first in here. So I was prepared for all those things. But I did know that if we made it all the way to the next brain room, that I would open with the kind of intro of that room and then stop it there.
Cut it. Yeah. You're like, this is my heart out.
This
I'm
is
not
the
going
hard
any
out,
farther.
And we may had to have stopped it earlier than that had you guys done more things or done more interactive rooms,
Right.
and then that would have been also getting to the time. But this was definitely so this is probably the earliest I would have ended the session because you guys basically went to the corridor, didn't really see very much in the corridor, and then immediately interacted with the secret door, and then ended up getting to the other side of it, and then seeing where the brain was.
Had to be on the phone, but did I do it right?
You did,
With the
yeah.
trident?
I was
good.
praising you at not only the way you were like, no, I'm gonna fucking do this puzzle, but then like immediately figuring out the whole context of the puzzle. It was fabulous. In fact, I'm gonna post session reward you with inspiration that I should have done.
Oh, thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah,
for doing
makes
that.
sense.
So
Like, I was telling Eric, like,
I didn't know anything about
my logic was that like, oh, the statue must be pointing towards some like illusion or false wall or something. But you just got the puzzle like instantly. It's like, oh no, there should be holes there, and this trident will fit in the holes, and that'll get us where we're going.
Yeah.
I did want to ask though, and this will help me with my thinking for the next time, but I feel bad about this, but you got to remind me, like, what we're collecting the brains for.
So, I know I should include that in like every recap probably now because it is like the main draw. I did upgrade or update the main Call from the Deep thing, but I don't know if I should mention.
Oh, Debnix, that's the most dad joke I've ever heard. So
What is it?
Ray just knows the tried and true method to puzzles.
Oh God, nice pun work there.
That's
So the Augmenter brains. This is part of that quest log update. The head, which is the head that like Borges is carrying right now, that head that you found in the laboratory of the mind flayers, that kind of repeats that information and works as your divining rod to find these Augmenter brains that you know help keep the being known as Zelix 4, which is the main villain that you've been hearing in your heads and stuff, in control of the Kraken. So you've surmised that you need to be destroying these brains or severing their connection or something, especially because Toral's, you guys might not, you're like, we need to kill this Kraken regardless, but like Toral, that's his god basically. So he's like, I need to rescue the Kraken. And you guys might extrapolate like, oh, well, maybe doing that would help, us defeat the brain or get the Kraken back in control or something there would help us, because otherwise your whole mission is like, well, I guess we got to go up to the ruins above and fight like a fucking Kraken that's in control of the colony of mind flayers, and that seems like a very dangerous prospect. But that's like, I mean, technically it's an option. It's the same way like the Zelda RPGs. You can see like the final area you could go into right away if you wanted to.
You can go in there if you want.
Without doing any of the
it's
other
not
things.
a good idea.
Right, you could do that, or you could go around the world and do the things. In this case, you go around the dungeon and deal with these Augmenter brains, and then that would basically hopefully unlock that final boss fight to make it doable. I can't really spoil any more than that because you guys aren't for sure the context of what that is, but that is at least your reigning theory right now. Is you are trying to get rid of these brains, destroy them in some way. But yeah, and you did interact with one, knowing that okay, well these brains, they're not like a creature as you would know it, but it is defending itself via attacks if it's attacked. But at least Savra with her check told you that, hey, we can brute force this. You can just attack these things and try to destroy them, but it would be able to do its reaction to defend itself, or she can get close enough and then engage that kind of arcana, or not arcana's intelligence check.
Right.
In order to sever the link.
Which means
herself.
You kind of need her for each of these brains.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's an intelligence check, but she's obviously got a huge, what is it, +9 or something crazy.
Right. And at least I assume we're still in the same hour where she's enhanced her ability.
Oh,
and she's also got another enhanced ability scroll in her pack.
Yeah,
she can just re-up whatever.
It's been fun that I've seen a lot of skills being used. Toral's been able to fend off against the brains.
Oh yeah.
Kraken's like control, which I haven't even told you what that's all about because it hasn't happened yet. And I don't want to tip my hand too much, but every time there's like a bout with the Zelix 4 and stuff, I make him roll it's a pretty high charisma save, but he does have a high charisma save, so
he doesn't roll below a 20 every time.
He's making this. Well, I think once he had to use inspiration for it the first time.
Oh right, yeah.
And Savra with the good intelligence checks against the brains. Fucking Matt can speak Elvish, which is amazing.
Right.
Clutch in the Elvish ruins when you meet a fucking ghost who's pissed off.
Yep.
Hopefully I can sweet talk my way out of it.
Yeah.
We shall see. So unfortunately, I can't say much else about this new area because we only just kind of dipped our toes into here. But it is a legit pretty big. I mean, you can see the map, right? Like your map is fucking huge. Well, actually, you can't see the map right now, can you? I put you back in the other thing, but
no, but I remember it's just as big.
Yes, it is. It is quite big. So this is a fully, big ass, cool dungeon crawl. Excited to see more of it, but I think we made pretty good progress. Honestly, probably about as much progress as I figure.
Yeah.
That we would make through here. And then I can talk about more about all the changes I've made to this area.
Yeah.
There's a lot I like, though, obviously. It's I think this one's going to work pretty well.
Nice.
Anything else about session 57?
Fun stuff.
I know it's gonna be weird going on for 2 weeks. We usually don't take
It
that big of a
is.
break, but
Yeah.
during the holidays. All right, that's gonna do it.
I don't know if we normally land like in a more like act break sort of place, but yeah, maybe we don't. Maybe we just have to do this recap.
Sometimes
every
we
year.
don't.
I don't remember.
I don't.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can't control. I mean, I try, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Where it's like, oh, we just finished a fight or something.
Yeah.
It's not every time where we can do a big climactic end or to be between them. Where it's like, oh, now we're gonna take a break. So yeah, I don't know if there was gonna be a big break here, but hopefully this is a good enough one where we took out one brain and we kind of made it
That's
to a new
right,
area
yeah.
basically.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're off the next 2 weeks. I teased maybe doing a crafting stream on Monday before, but I'm honestly probably not going to. I'll probably just take the full 2 weeks off from doing live streams and stuff, and I'll return on the 6th for crafting. Take a nice little holiday break, I think.
There you go.
All right, that'll do it for this chat from the deep. Thank you to Raymond and Chris. Thank you to all the Wolf fans for watching, and we hope everybody has a happy, safe, awesome holiday break. Play some D&D if you can. I hope
right.
I can actually play some physical D&D this holiday.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I gotta get that shit together. So
Yeah.
I'll work on that, and we'll see y'all in the new year.
See you next year.
Bye.